Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts, a public, informational, nonpartisan program designed to get the public acquainted with the candidates that are vying for the 2022 general election races of Congressional District 6, Senate Districts 10 and 11, House Districts 17 through 23, Salem City Council, and Marion County Commissioner. These interviews come to you through the producers at Capital Community Media. Collaboration on questions and moderators have come from the Association of University Women, Salem City Club, League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties, and we're glad for their assistance. All 27 candidates for these races were invited, and all but 5 chose to participate. Candidates did not receive the questions prepared by the League of Women Voters ahead of time. Candidates were invited to prepare a 2-minute opening addressing their background and qualifications for this office. And they can respond in a 2-minute closing addressing the goals of the office that they have if they are elected. I'm Bernadine Anderson from the League of Women Voters, and today I would like to introduce Ramiro Navarro. He is running for House District 21, and now we're going to ask candidate Navarro welcome, and we look forward to hearing his 2-minute opening remarks.
Hi, good evening. Good. Thank you for having me on. My name is Ramiro Navarro Jr., or RJ for short, and I'm a born and raised Kaiserite. I went to Kaiser Elementary, graduated from McNary High School, ended up joining the military at 18, was a combat veteran at 19, and an alcoholic by 20. I ended up struggling with undiagnosed PTSD coming home from combat in Iraq and turned to drugs and alcohol to cope. That earned me 18 months, day for day, no good time, no work time, on my first felony charge for marijuana. Because there are a lack of correctional opportunities in our correction system, I just picked up right where I left off when I was released and went back to my addiction. But now I had the barrier of having a felony and struggling with recidivism to support me in being a positive contributing member of society. It wasn't until I was offered an opportunity to join a justice reinvestment program that paid for my housing for 3 months, my college for 3 months, and my bus pass that I was able to focus on my mental health. It was then on campus at the community college that I was attending that I met other veterans who had been through what I'd been through and shared that there's coming back from that. They supported me in navigating my VA benefits and navigating the VA healthcare system to be able to get the counseling that I needed and to utilize my veterans benefits to become the best person that I could be. And it's because of that I know that we can address our mental health crisis in our community in a different way. I know that we can address our criminal justice system and that crisis in another way, and our homeless crisis in another way. And I look forward to bringing that experience to the legislature.
Thank you. I think you'll find our first question fits very well with your opening remarks. And that question is, what steps should be taken to address Oregon's youth mental health needs?
Wow, that's a great question. I think that we could do a lot. One thing that is already being done here in the community in House District 21 is we have a home. It's called Home Youth Services, the organization, and then we also have a program called Youth Era. These programs are really great, but they just don't have the funding that they need to be able to expand to serve a lot more youth. And that's just in Salem. Kaiser doesn't really even have anything. So I think that there's a lot more that we could be doing there to serve youth in the Kaiser area, as well as expanding services to individuals in the Salem area. But I think just like a short answer to your question is being able to support and fund services appropriately that support youth in the different methods of recovery that are appropriate to them. So when it comes to mental health crisis, I mean, not everybody heals the same. And so being able to fund these different types of services that appeal to different individuals is really the key to making sure that people have the support that they need.
Thank you. Our next question. What do you think is being done to protect and support county election officials and their support staff as they conduct our elections and their election duties? Is there anything else that should be done?
I know that in the past we've had a really big issue with elected officials and county staff and having their private information disclosed because and others did not agree with how they carried out their duties. And I think that that's really unfair. It's unfair for individuals who are just doing their jobs to have protesters show up at their front door because somebody posted their address online. I think that we can look at addressing those issues in a way that supports the individuals in carrying out their job and not living in fear of retaliation for doing their jobs. I think part of that looks like making it, I don't want to say a crime, but making it maybe a violation to be posting public information like that online and creating an unsafe work environment and a community for these individuals that are doing their best to serve our community.
Thank you. Do you think that Oregon has the resources to provide adequate and accessible health care to Oregonians, and why or why not?
Absolutely not. And I know that because for the last 5 years, I worked as the Veterans Program Coordinator for a local nonprofit that provided peer support services to individuals like myself who struggle with mental health and addiction. We were funded by the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs because my program specifically worked with other veterans. And but that was the only way that we could fund it. We didn't have another method of gaining funding to be able to provide our program. And so without that funding, we wouldn't exist. So I know that there's other ways that we can be able to fund this, either through the Oregon Health Plan or through different methods to be able to increase access to those services. So here in Marion County, it was Marion Polk, when I ran that program, we served before COVID 52 veterans on a monthly basis with 36 certified veteran peer support specialists. After COVID, there was a huge decline in people calling in or showing up to receive services because COVID, we had the lockdowns. But there's gonna take it's gonna take a huge amount of effort to be able to reach back out to those individuals and our increasing number of veterans that are coming back to be able to make sure that they have the access to mental health services. That is more specifically geared towards veterans, just because that's where my professional background is. But I know that we could be doing more to fund services for women, for children, for people that are experiencing all sorts of different traumas. So it's something that we can definitely fund more.
Thank you. What do you, this is kind of a big question. What are your thoughts regarding two important pieces of legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Bill? And of those, what elements do you think would benefit Oregonians?
So I'm not too familiar with the Inflation Reduction Act, but I think how it could, at least if it sounds like it's, if it works as it sounds, that would support Oregonians right now that are really struggling with housing, having access to housing. If we're increasing costs of building materials, then it's going to increase the cost of rent at these places that they're renting in a time when access to housing is already difficult. Now, when it comes to the infrastructure build, so I also sit on the Chariots board for the Salem Area Mass Transit District as a board member. And one thing that really helped us was funds from the infrastructure package to be able to support our community in getting access to public transportation. We were able to do a lot with those funds, including getting electric buses to be able to step away from using our diesel buses. So we're no longer polluting the environment. Actually, we have the cleanest fleet in Oregon when it comes to public transportation. And so we're really proud of that. And part of that was thanks to the infrastructure package and being able to support us in one of our missions of being able to serve the community while reducing our impact on the air and water.
Thank you. You may find this question ties into that. So what do you think about the renewable energy tax credits?
I think that we can expand on those renewable energy tax credits to be able to support low-income families and having access to those tax credits. A lot of times, I think it takes a big investment to be able to qualify for those credits, and that's just not something that a lot of low-income families have. They don't have a lot of expendable income to be able to support qualifying for those tax credits. And so if we could maybe think outside the box and figure out how we can support renters in qualifying for that, if we can support, small business owners, like micro business owners, not just, the 50 employee small businesses, but the really, micro small businesses, and applying for some of those incentives, I think that we'd be in a better place to serve the rest of Oregonians.
Thank you. The next question is, how do you think we should address teacher shortages that Oregon is currently experiencing?
Yeah, so that is something that we've been addressing here in Kaiser. So we are lucky enough to have a principal at McNary High School where I graduated. Principal Jesperson is taking this initiative on by pioneering a program where he specifically recruits individuals who are DACA recipients. So people who are DACistas are recruited to work at McNary High School as teaching aides, I want to say, teacher assistants. Mm-hmm. So they work there as assistants for a period of time, and their schedule allows them to attend college. And so in that, they work at the school and then they attend college for, a certain amount of years. And I actually have two friends that just recently graduated from that program that are now going to become teachers. They're no longer instructional assistants. They're full-fledged teachers. So they're really happy about that. And they're both Latinos. And so not only is he addressing the teacher shortage, he's also diversifying the teacher workforce. And so I think having individuals like that in charge and the ideas behind that leading us, I think is going to help us address that teacher shortage.
Thank you. Considering the CDC public health statistics on injuries and death from shootings, how do you want to address open dialogue around guns in our society?
I don't really find it hard to address that open dialogue. I think that we're at a point in society that we know that a lot of at least suicides when it comes to veterans are committed with firearm. And so I think that we need to have that discussion to how do we prevent, people from feeling at a place that they're so low that that's the way that they feel like they need. That's the route that they need to take to get out. But also, how do we afford them just a few more minutes to be able to think it over and say, hey, this isn't the right way to do that. Whether that's ensuring that everybody has their firearms locked away, whether that's requiring that we have extensive background checks to be able to make sure that people that are purchasing firearms aren't doing so because they're getting ready to commit some acts of violence. I think that there's a couple ways that we could that we can address this issue, but I think the important thing is just to have the conversation and figure out how can we get to a point where we can find real solutions that save people.
Thank you. Considering Oregon's unique kicker policy, we're going to look at finances here a bit. What impact do you think it has on the financial accountability and the stability of our state government?
I think that that it has a major impact on the stability of our government to have that kicker program in place. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of upset with it right now. And so I would like to maybe revisit the way that we tax individuals to see if, the kicker is the appropriate way of making sure that people are getting their money.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, candidate Navarro, you are invited to now share your 2-minute closing comments about your goals for this position if you're elected.
Thank you. So my goals for this position, if I'm elected, are to be an advocate for the voices that are often gone unheard in the legislature. We have a lot of people that have made it a career of being in politics in the legislature. And that's not what we need. That's not where policy is impacting people the worst. It's not those individuals. It's the people. It's the moms. It's the dads. It's the working class families that are being impacted the worst by some of these policies. And so I bring my experience, my lived experience, being a father, being a working class individual, being a small business owner, being a veteran, being somebody who struggled with mental health and addiction, being somebody who's endured. I bring that experience to the legislature, and I hope that I can count on your vote and your support to be able to help me to advocate for the rest of the families that are in the same place that I am, that are often going unheard.
Thank you, candidate Ramiro Navarro, who is running for our House District 21, and for sharing those well-organized thoughts. Thanks to community media for extensive technology and producer skills that were used to create this program. Thank you to the League of Women Voters of Marion and Polk Counties for the design and preparation of the program, and to AAUW, Salem City Club, for their help with the question development and for providing some moderators. And thanks to you, the public, for watching in order to become an informed voter. For more local, state, and national voter information on candidates and ballot issues, please visit vote411.org. You have until October 18th to register to vote or to make any changes in your registration. Ballots go out beginning October 19th. And now, according to a new law, these ballots will be accepted and counted if postmarked before or on the day of November 8th. Elections matter. Remember to vote. Remember to encourage others to vote, because your vote counts.